My name is Dr. Kaushik Ram, and on this channel I take you on adventures with mind and body. And today I'll be facing my biggest fear, which is the fear of drowning. I never really learned how to swim because my parents were overprotective and they wouldn't let me anywhere near the water. And as an adult, I didn't go into the water out of embarrassment. And that has actually been a big limiting factor in my life. But also I'm doing this because one of the ways I control my own nervous system is through breathing. And when you're in the water, your breathing is compromised. So I want to see how I cope when what I rely on the most is taken away from me. To help me overcome the fear of drowning, I'm here with national gold medalist swimmer and surf lifeguard Dean Gladstone. Dean has been on Bondi Rescue since its inception in 2005, and as a world-famous lifeguard, he has saved over 5,000 lives in his 20-year professional career. Dean, it is such a pleasure to be here with you, and such an honor actually to be with someone who has such an incredible life journey. And I remember the way we started this conversation was you pointed me towards a blog post. It blew my mind how much you've lived through. And so it really got me inspired to speak to you about some of the things that has inspired you on this journey. And one of the things that really captured my attention was the fact that when you were young, you were diagnosed with asthma. And instead of that limiting you, it has actually been a catalyst to where you are now. So can you actually expand a bit more on that and how it helped you?
Yeah, thanks Kaushik. As you get a bit older, you certainly look back on your journeys in life, and you start to find gratitude for the weird and wonderful twists and turns life takes you on. And for me, being hospitalised as a 9-year-old with asthma wasn't great at the time, and it was quite debilitating through my younger years. Also good if I wanted a day off school, because I could just say, "Oh, can't breathe, mum."
Yeah.
And it was a good go-to. But that started me on a focus on the breath and more of a focus on my health. Also linking what I ate to how I felt as well. I started eliminating dairy from my diet at a young age. I noticed that wasn't helpful for me. And now, as a much older, health passionate person, I really, really enjoy those connections from an early age between breath and health and diet.
Wow. And I mean, when you're in a scenario where your breath is being limited, and then going on a journey to discover breath, that is in itself quite powerful. Like breathing, I've never had asthma or any breathing difficulties. But the idea of my breath being constricted in some way, just it feels so compromising,
Yeah, it's an awful feeling.
Yeah.
But really excited about your whole concept, and that's sort of where my passion's going now these days. I'm not full-time lifeguarding anymore. I'm teaching people about the breath and health. And to share my journey from struggling to breathe as a young kid through saving many people in the ocean, and maybe helping you face some of your fears today. It's a really exciting space where I love what I do, and I'm super grateful for the best and worst things that have seemed to happen to me.
Yeah, exactly. And I think with the ocean as well, that adds another layer to breathing, because when you're underwater, you obviously can't take a deep breath when you're feeling stressed. So that is another layer that I'm really keen to explore, because for me, I've relied on breathing to get through very difficult situations. And it's helped me get through fear. It's helped me get through enormous amounts of pain, both physical and emotional pain. It's helped me to clear my mind and, to focus. But then putting myself in a scenario where my breathing is compromised and I can't rely on it, that's me putting myself outside my comfort zone and something that I truly rely on, but I can't in that moment. So that's something that I'm really, it won't be comfortable, let's just say that.
Yeah, well, that's, there's so much growth in that spot where it won't be comfortable. And I think you know that.
Yeah.
And I think that's possibly the idea behind this whole thing.
No, absolutely. So that's why I'm voluntarily putting myself in this situation.
And it's a lesson many people have learned, but for you to go out and film it and capture it and educate people about it, it's really exciting. Because that will help them deal with their own fears. And I've seen people die, like I've seen people drown, and it's from panic. It's there's an element of them not being able to swim, but there's a huge element of fear and panic, and it's something I want to explore a little bit further as I understand more about what we're doing today and the breath and our nervous systems.
Yeah, exactly. Panic is a really big one. Like the moment your mental faculties are taken away from you and you're basically going on raw emotion, you might not be doing the right thing, but you're doing that pretty aggressively. And to take someone out of panic, as a lifeguard, I don't know what training you've gone through to be able to calm down a person when they feel like they're about to die. So maybe you can share some of the scenarios you've actually been in. Yeah,
that's a really good question, because in some cases, when I rescue someone who's potentially going to die, I'm not actually taking them, I'm not trying to calm them down, I'm literally putting them on a rescue board or on the back of a jet ski and taking them into shore, into safety.
Yeah.
Other cases where, even in non-life-threatening situations, and what springs to mind most is when a mother loses her child. They are just in this horrible state of panic. And as a lifeguard who's had a 20-year career, to see this happen literally hundreds of times, you're like, it's going to be okay, but they don't understand. And, I found myself saying, listen, I've been a lifeguard for 20 years. I've never lost a child in my life. And then they look back and they're like, oh, okay, maybe. And then it's like, please breathe, and just trying to break down the simple things. But yeah, it's very, very different. Not trying to calm someone down to just saving their life and bringing them into shore. But cognition certainly goes, like they cannot understand the most simple directions, which can be frustrating. But again, there's no point yelling at them. Although sometimes I do find yelling effective way to communicate. Please don't go and openly yell at people. But in terms of saving someone's life, and whether that could be investigated further would be another. No, that's a very, very important point. Sometimes to get the message across, you kind of have to use a very forceful emotion just to bring that person out of their state, Oh, I'm glad a scientist is standing up. One of my, what do you call one of your ideas? Oh, fancy word. It's not there for me. Yeah, but even like, especially when verbal communication kind of goes out the window, communicating viscerally, as well, just that soothing touch can be quite effective as well. So often I find when I'm dealing with clients who are in a state of extreme trauma, you can't communicate with them cognitively. You have to work on non-verbal communication, and usually that is touch, and usually it is sensed through the body. So this is something that I've been exploring, but I've never been on the receiving end of that, like putting myself in such a challenging scenario where I've had to be the one who's, receiving that. Yeah. So this for me is an exploratory journey of, first of all, how far can I go? And what situations will put me into panic. I especially don't like the cold. Yes. And I wouldn't say I'm afraid of drowning, because I've done things like scuba diving,
snorkeling, surfing. So I've been in the water,
Yeah.
in the deep end, but I've always had some way to be able to breathe. And to be reliant on my own ability rather than any form of equipment, that is something that I haven't explored. It's slightly embarrassing for me to be an adult and not know basic swimming skills. And for me, it is a way of confronting this embarrassment right now, going, I can't just leave this aside and not face it. So
That's so beautiful, though, that you can acknowledge your fears or something that embarrasses you out loud. I think that's a huge step.
Yeah.
And I know for me, when I make a mistake, I try and acknowledge it. And I see that as a really positive thing. So
Yeah. And in your career, you've been doing this one profession for close to 20 years now. What has kept you so enthusiastic and so motivated in this one profession for such a long period of time?
Yeah, it's, people see lifeguards, and it's changed a lot, but when I was a lifeguard, there wasn't a TV show. It wasn't such a cool career that it is now. I guess that they were sort of more seen as surfers and maybe even some sort of dropouts, and it wasn't looked at as a career. It was more looked at as maybe a job to do while you're at uni before you go on and find a real job. So yeah, I started doing it because I did see a medical emergency, and my mum was a nurse, and she explained to me that the lifeguards had brought this man back to life.
Wow.
And I really liked that connection, and knowing that I was good in the water, I thought that I may be able to help people and bring someone back to life. But to see the lifeguards driving buggies on the beach and spending all day at the beach, like there was an element of coolness that I thought that I wanted to do the job. But it was later on down the track when I got to help people and rescue people and even give people a Band-Aid. And it's, if you can make someone smile or help someone, it's a really nice feeling.
Yeah.
And that's what really kept me doing the lifeguarding.
And also, you're a father and you are incredibly fit. I feel like there are certain lifestyle choices that you've made that has allowed you to not just live such a beautiful life, but also, give an example to your kids as well. Like, how do you see, children benefiting from like seeing a very healthy, strong dad? Has that ever occurred in your thinking?
Yeah, absolutely. It occurs. Yeah, children are inspiration. Being a lifeguard, you got to stay fit and healthy, because that could be the difference between life and death for someone else. So you actually pride yourself on being fit and healthy and, in a sense, mobile. Some days we will sit there for hours and hours on end and then need to, there's no warm-up. You're sprinting breakneck speed out the back to try and save someone's life. So that's where yoga, and it all sort of comes in, diet, nutrition. It's not just swimming, there's the breath work, there's the yoga and mobility, there's health and nutrition, there's sleeping well, there's eating well. That all comes into a lifestyle choice. And it made me happy.
Yeah.
I feel good. I remember in my younger years coming to work and being hungover. And at Bondi, it's like this epicenter of health and fitness, and there's people training and doing yoga and surfing and all these healthy activities, and it's like, that's what I want to be. That's the vibe I want.
Yeah.
So being the lifeguard just sort of forced me into this health and fitness life, which I am so grateful for and I absolutely love.
Wow. So metaphorically speaking, now I'd like to dive into that lifestyle as well, just for a moment. and experience what it's like to be on the deep end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you've got to start at the beach. Got to get up at 5 o'clock on Saturday and Sundays for a long time. We work public holidays, New Year's Day. You know, there's no days off for lifeguards. It's 365 days a year, and you're up early. So yeah, that keeps you on the straight and narrow. But in a more serious sense, we're going to get in the ocean, right?
Yeah. And confront some fears that I've been looking away from for pretty much my entire life.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, let's do this. Talking about a challenge, man, like I thought I was just gonna get in the water and just in the deep end, but Dean is going to make me jump off a cliff. Like, how is that for a challenge to start off with? I'm not even comfortable with the water. How on earth am I meant to jump into the water off a cliff? Like, this is insane. So that is causing a lot of anxiety for me at the moment, but I am going to do this.
You alright? Yep. Yeah, good. Just swim out this way. Swim out that breaststroke. You're good, you're good, you're good, you're good. Like little like this. See, just here if you need a rest. You tell me, I'll give you a little rest. That was epic. High five. Alright, we're going to swim in this way. Keep the mouth closed. Alright, you're good? Good? No. You good? So you got to sort of lean forward and then try and do a little, and then like a frog kick. Whoa, so good. Quick, up. Go. Woo, that was hard work. That was epic. You're a legend. Absolute legend.
Oh my god. I did fine with the jumping, but once I was in the water and started getting smashed by waves, I started swallowing water. I wasn't prepared for that. And having no like prep work on like how to swim or anything, I just like jumped into the complete unknown, and like the only thing I had was like trusting my life with Dean. So, and
Thank you.
Yeah, that's all I had going from me, man. And Jesus, it was hard work in there.
Mate, Koshak did really well. You know, today he asked me to take us out of his comfort zone in the water, and I tried to up it a level or two. And he had full faith in me, and he did the jump. He quite clearly doesn't swim that well, and put himself in a pretty serious situation. I don't recommend for people to do it at home. I've been a lifeguard for 20 years, so felt really comfortable. Also had the lifeguards here aware that what we were doing, so if we needed backup, they were there and watching us, probably through the binoculars. But yeah, I was getting some beautiful footage of him swimming underwater, and I could see him start to panic, so I had to pop back up and give him a hand. But yeah, that was amazing. Like to watch his physiology change, and to him to try and pull himself back into the present. We even talked about nasal breathing out there, so super cool stuff.
Yeah, one thing was like, you know, I knew I was gonna face my fear of drowning, but to then jump off, like facing the fear of heights to begin with, did not expect that, Dean. So, like, thank you for putting me through that crazy fucking challenge. Thank you so much, Dean, for this incredible moment in my life. And if you guys out there want to follow Dean's work, he's on Instagram in Dean Gladstone. And he's also running workshops called Power of Breath, which really teaches you about the nervous system and your own physiology and how to connect with your body. So get in touch with Dean, and I thank you so much for
My
that.
pleasure, bro. Well done.
Yeah.
You really did well today. I'm truly impressed.
Beautiful. Thanks, bro.
My pleasure.